The following news flash is brought to you by the Lone Star Lowdown, providing your daily bulletins for the commodities market. Today in history, news updates, and the inside scoop into the tides of the alternative. Markets for Wednesday, the 20th of April, 2016, are currently trading with gold at $1,253.14 an ounce, silver $17.14 an ounce, Texas crude $41.08 a barrel, and Bitcoin is currently at about 440 U.S. currency. Today in history, the year 1999. The Columbine High School shootings take place in Colorado. 13 people were killed, with 24 being injured. The Columbine shootings took place today in history. In recent news, Treasury Secretary Jack Lew is expected to announce later today that Harriet Tubman, the African-American abolitionist most famous for her role in helping slaves escape through the Underground Railroad, will soon be the new face on the $20 bill, with the U.S. founding father Alexander Hamilton remaining on the $10 paper note. The new $10 bill is set to be unveiled in 2020. The timing for the production of the new Harriet Tubman $20 bill, however, is yet to be announced. More than a dozen criminal charges have been filed today against 3 officials in Michigan as part of a months-long investigation into the lead-contaminated water crisis in Flint. The charges are the first from the government catastrophe, which has potentially exposed roughly 100,000 residents to lead-contaminated water. As a result of this, which many are calling criminal negligence, the crisis has led to an investigation of the possible links between the tainted water and a dozen deaths from Legionnaire's disease. In 2015, local, state, and federal authorities through the Drug Enforcement Administration's controversial cannabis eradication program uprooted roughly 4.1 million cultivated marijuana plants in all 50 states, as compared to the 4.3 million plants in 2014. While federal spending on the program has remained roughly the same at $18 million in the last few years, it tallies out to roughly $4.42 per plant. This DEA's program provides funding to 128 state and local law enforcement agencies to search for, seize, and destroy marijuana being grown across the country. Much of the money for the program comes from the Justice Department's highly controversial and constitutionally questionable asset forfeiture fund. However, at least 2 states have declined to accept federal eradication funds last year, Alaska and Colorado, where marijuana is now legal. 4 states, including even the District of Columbia, have legalized marijuana for adult use, with several other states hoping to follow smoke this year. With an ever-growing opposition from researchers, lawmakers, doctors, and the general public calling on the federal government to change course on marijuana policy and save us all some money. This is Rick Rohde with your lowdown for 4/20/2016.
Logos Radio Network presents The Truth Exposed Radio Show every Wednesday 6 to 8 p.m., bringing to you breakdowns on current events, history, and philosophy with your hosts, Rick Rohde, Marshall Soul, and Cody Rowe. Welcome and thank you for tuning in.
And we are live. This is Truth Exposed here on the Logos Radio Network. Happy 420 to y'all people out there. Hope y'all having a good day.
Happy 420.
I'm one of your co-hosts, Cody Rowe.
Marshall Soul.
Rick Rohde. And we got Marshall back in the limelight over here.
I'm still a little under the weather, suffering, I think, from that chemtrail flu that went around after that hailstorm dump, but who knows?
I think the Kennedys were singing about that back in the day, right? Government flu or something?
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, Waylon Jennings was too.
Interesting.
Yeah, I got quite a show lined up, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you're enjoying yourselves this day, as we do every day, of course. And hopefully you're having a good week, grinding, keeping up with family, keeping up with the responsibilities of life, but just always with the breeze, always with a smile on your face. And
keeping up with the taxation and theft memes. Yeah.
Better share them. Yeah, hopefully you filed your taxes, because what was that? 2 days ago they were due, so don't want the IRS man to knocking. Of course, if they owe you money, they're not really going to bother with that. So,
oh no, they'll take their time.
Hopefully you got a refund on some of that money they took from you.
But is it really a refund when they took it from you to begin with?
Well,
I don't know. What's the legal definition of refund?
What's the legal definition of taxation?
Yeah, right.
You don't get it all back.
Nope.
Yeah, for whatever reason, they kept my Medicare and my Social Security, which I'm not going to see any of. So
No, and I still got penalized for not having health insurance yet. I'm paying for Medicare and Medicaid and all that.
oh yeah, because you're on the, what is it, self-employed private contractor basically,
No,
right?
no,
Or what do
no. No, I work for somebody, so I'm not
man.
a private contractor.
Come on now. Yeah, that's not. I'm sorry to hear that, bro. So they slapped your tax return or what?
Oh yeah, of
With-
course. You know, I don't have that Obamacare, and I refuse to be forced into paying for anybody. I don't want to be forced into paying for a service or for a product.
So you're telling me you can't afford health care, so they just took money from you since you can't afford it?
I don't choose to have health care. I should choose to pay for something whenever it comes up.
Yeah, bear the responsibility.
Why do I have to pay in for something that I'm only going to use so much? And
Oh, so
so
you did
much-
at a protest. You red-blooded American, you.
Yeah, lock me up. Then everybody else will have to pay for my health care.
Yeah, right. I think you can even get your
And
free
my
sex change.
education and my food and my housing. Go right ahead.
I'm not too sure if that's even food though, man. It's like
I don't know. They might be getting something
soggy
to that.
cardboard, you know, with some beef stew.
I'm not sure if they get it as bad as the schools do.
You don't get beef
That's
stew,
pink
Rick.
slime. They're like the McDonald's pink slime.
Yeah. Here's your.
or beef broth rather, you know, just a bunch of cardboard with that beef broth to get a little bit of flavor.
Your test subjects at that point.
Yeah. So we got quite a lineup of information to cover. Of course, we're going to be covering, continuing to wrap up our breakdown of the acquisition of raw land by Mr. John Locke himself. Before we get into that, you know, we got a lineup of interesting things that were popped into the news realm this day. I don't know if I'm sure it's the stir of the social media and everyone talking about it on the interwebs. Seems like the banking war has come up again, hasn't it?
Dun, dun, dun. Definitely. Man, the banking, we've been seeing it coming from a long ways away, but yeah, it's all, you know, we're all being vindicated now. I mean, we got Saudi Arabia doing such and such. We've got China doing such and such. Russia doing.
And even now, Saudi Arabia is threatening our economy if they release those 28 pages that would hold them accountable, or Congress passes the bill that would hold them accountable for their ties to 9/11.
Yeah, which apparently both Democratic nominees for the presidential run are in favor of that bill. So that's interesting as well, that they would do such a thing to our beloved allies.
Our
Beloved here is in big quotations and highly exaggerated, flamboyantly even.
And then them claiming to dump our treasury bonds,
Who's that, Saudis?
the Saudis.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't look good for the dollar. Definitely doesn't, especially when you consider the yuan, the Chinese dollar.
And then their ties to
backed up.
OPEC and the petrodollar.
Yeah, and China moving to back up their dollar by gold, and that's just not going to be good for the U.S. paper currency that has
Yes,
no
sir.
backing to it whatsoever. And we should have seen this coming a couple of years ago when during the sequester, POTUS himself, Mr. Barack Hussein Obama, basically told the world at large that, is constantly buying up our debt and buying up our bonds, that, hey, you know what, if you don't continue to let us borrow money here, we're just going to go default on our debt. At which point everyone was just like, what? Come on now.
You got what?
You're going to expect us to lend you more money after this? Really? So we should have really seen this coming for some time now. And interest rates bound to jump up here with the Fed hesitating to do so for several months now because they know what's gonna be the result of that one.
Hey, we're hard for money. Let's just bring the military home. Shut down all those bases we have overseas. Well, we got to go over 370 something bases overseas.
You know exactly what we're going to
admittedly?
do. You know exactly.
That's very liberal of you. You mustn't hate America, Marshall.
No,
You must
I
hate
love it because
America.
I'm saying bring them back over here and let's just protect here.
So they're going to do the exact opposite because
That's more bases.
Yeah, we're going to gear up like we're going to go to war. They're going to,
Oh, we're gonna go back into Iraq and go back into Libya and then somehow slip into I'm sorry, slip of my mind.
But
Syria.
I see them playing the Russia China card and staging another Cold War scenario where we build up everything and these big fears of those of China's superpower and and we gotta make our stuff stronger military.
Don't mind the fact that we owe them a bunch of money.
And so
we want to show them.
Trump getting in would be good for them because they want to make he'd be cool with strengthening the military, right? I mean,
But then
Well, which
also
candidate
Trump
isn't?
also kind of favors Putin.
exactly.
Trump and Putin kind of see eye to eye. And then we have what happened in the Baltic where our ships were over there in the Baltic and they got swooped by an Su-37 or a Soviet a Russian plane. But I mean, of course, we're over there in their waters. How would we feel if Russia was over here in the Gulf of Mexico doing such things?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and by Trump liking Putin is really just he doesn't want to go into World War III with Putin. He's hesitant on doing that. So
who would want to go into World War III, other than some crazy, people in power?
Yeah, exactly. No, we know how it is. That it's a big game. It's a big posturing.
It's a big game. We're all just pawns in it.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I don't think they'll ever let that happen. They want us to act like it's going to happen. Posture, build up, and then such and such Libya or such and such so and so or whatever, and we've got all the military ready to go and kick somebody's butt.
Yeah, it's their fault. We're in financial ruin.
Yeah,
you can see it building up already. Interestingly enough, though, today's announcement by the Fed or the Treasury Department, they're switching the $20 bill. I'm sure everyone knows about it already.
I bet Jackson's finally gonna stop rolling around in his grave.
Yeah, so I mean, Jackson had ended the Fed Bank way back.
Yeah, the second national bank,
version 1.0. Yeah,
2.0. It was the second national bank.
Yeah, true.
So he wouldn't want to be on that Fed note anyway. It's almost like that was a mockery.
He was against paper currency. He was adamantly against paper currency. So to have him on it, he didn't get put on there until the Federal Reserve came into power with the Federal Reserve Act of 1913. Before that, it was like Grover Cleveland and I can't remember all the other ones, but he was never on it before then.
But it's definitely a mockery. I mean, even Abe Lincoln, right? I mean, come on.
Especially, yeah. Then you got Thomas Jefferson on the $2 bill. I mean, Thomas Jefferson fought the first one, the first bank of the United States.
So it's like everybody who fought them, it's like, it's like spitting in their face. Like, we'll put you on our.
Exactly.
Yeah, you got Bill Clinton on the $3 bill.
I have relations with it.
Cleveland, I believe, was against the banking cartels as well.
So who are they talking about putting on the new 20?
So Miss Abolitionist herself.
What, an abolitionist?
A freedom fighter over here.
Some more mockery going on?
I think so.
Everyone's like, good. I've seen people saying good, and I'm like, I don't think y'all don't get it. Y'all don't get it, do you?
Yeah, Miss Underground Railroad herself, Harriet Tubman, who now she's rolling in her grave after Andrew stopped doing the breakdancing in his grave. So
I would see her as being insulted by that.
Or most definitely,
I would see that as insulting.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, if you're a freedom fighter who is breaking the law essentially of the day in order to free people from slavery, from subjugation, and a hardcore abolitionist who didn't just speak it, unlike most of our signers of the Declaration of Independence and signers of the Constitution, who didn't just speak nice words but actually followed through with the action. For her to be put on a Federal Reserve note, which quite literally symbolizes the enslavement of not only the United States, but not only the United States, but the world at large, being that the U.S. dollar has such a far reach that it does.
What more is a slave than a person in debt?
Yeah, totally. Perpetual debt, not even out of their own fruition. So she's definitely pissed off about this. I mean, not to speak for people that have deceased already. Well, more than $20, I can guarantee that.
How much did it cost to roll out this program?
Yeah, so it's just an interesting little thing to note. And, on a side note, side little analysis of this, this really goes to show how much, again, we're not against this idea of, I mean, we could really care less. It's just a piece of paper, fake money. But it just really goes to show how much Black Lives Matter movement has really gone to affect, monetary policy even. When you have heads of the World Bank agreeing with Occupy Wall Street, and you got, Black Lives Matter affecting our new monetary, treasury policy. It really goes to show how much these socialist groups have a pull in our government.
So you think MLK's next? They're going to put MLK on the next?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. They take Hamilton off. Put MLK on there.
Yeah, I mean,
I could see that being another move next time.
Yeah, right. It's a nice little pat in the back
appease
the fees.
Yeah.
Put Rosa Parks on the 50.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, come on now. I mean.
Yeah,
it's just a mockery.
It really is. It really is. Might as well make George Washington into a black man or something. I don't know. Or at least put his slaves on there.
We could put.
I don't know. It's just pretty messed up. But
you are listening to the Logos Radio Network. LogosRadioNetwork.com.
Am I all right? Yeah, I'm all right.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Truth Exposed Radio right here on the Logos Radio Network. I'm feeling a little bad. You know, I should have gone to Logos and clicked on that Global Healing Center link over there and went and got me some meds sponsored by Dr. Group. Luckily, my buddy Andrew showed up over here and brought me some colloidal silver and some other vitamins.
Yeah, you need that before you kill over on us.
I know.
Like chemtrail flu, chemtrail stew being sprayed on us.
I ain't never been sick for a week, man. It's been over a decade since I've been sick for a week.
Yikes.
Well, that says a lot. That's good. That's good. I'm going a couple of years myself. I'm not getting sick. It's funny how when you're younger and just totally into the fast food and into the yearly checkups and booster shots or whatever the heck they call them.
You get sick a lot
You
more.
get sick like every year. It's kind of like on the routine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, usually like right around when the season changed, like in the spring and the fall and the fall and the spring was winter and the spring. See, this guy, you got my head messed up.
Yeah.
Winter and the spring, and then the summer and the fall. You know, right when you have those temperature shifts, you know, the body reacts.
Yeah.
Pollen's in the air.
Yeah. So definitely check out Global Healing Center on the LogosRadioNetwork.com webpage, and a whole list of our other sponsors there, Non-GMO Solutions. Do some shopping, go through Amazon, Gold Savings Club. Speaking of gold and silver and colloidal silver, you guys hear about the Deutsche Bank manipulating the
silver
precious metal market?
Yeah. I was going to ask you, like, how do they do that?
They're just now admitting it or finding out about it?
Yeah, they basically got busted. And they're going to cough up some names here pretty soon. So
It's been going on.
Yeah, right.
They've been manipulating those markets for the longest times. Like silver's been artificially kept down for the longest time.
Oh,
yeah. You could say gold as well.
Yeah, gold as well, but silver has been more so.
So we should see those going up here pretty soon. So you may want to get in while
getting's good.
The artificial low is here. Get in right now. Yeah,
because that's the only way
it go up.
To know whether or not your currency is worth anything is you look at the value of other goods, like how much it takes for you to purchase that good. It's the same good. It's just the value of the money is different.
And if you pay attention to the gold market ever since, or the precious metals market ever since, like, I mean, I can't remember when I started looking at it. 2000 and like, I can't remember something. But you can see it just, I mean, it went from $350 an ounce, like way back to, you know, in gold to like, what is it?
Right.
You know,
when Bush first got in, right? 2000 or whatever, it was a couple $100 an ounce.
Yeah. And now it's almost a couple thousand, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That says a lot right there.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s, silver was like, what, $5 an ounce, maybe less?
Right?
Yeah, no, it's like 500. No, it's like two.
It's like 17, somewhere 16, $17 an ounce, which, I mean, it was shot up at 30 here about a year ago. So
I believe it went up higher a couple years back.
Yeah, you can double your money.
It was like
you just got to watch the market on it.
Yeah.
You can double your money here pretty quick. So get it while you can. And of course, just all the great lineup of shows and archives we do have on the Logos does have on their website. Definitely check it out, LogosRadioNetwork.com. Do appreciate all the help that you listeners have been given the network. It keeps all the archives going, all the radio shows blaring. And this isn't to pay someone's paycheck or salary. This is just the cost of
running the operation.
Of operations, that's for sure. And
keeping the airwaves open and the machines going.
Yeah.
And with the FCC down Logos' throat every day, you know, it's they can use all the help they can get. So do appreciate it, guys. So they're switching up the $20 bill. It looks like, and like we were saying, finishing up last segment. Again, we don't really. I mean, it doesn't affect us in any personal way whatsoever. It is kind of funny.
It's still going to be a desecrated piece of paper, a means of exchange.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a false premise on what money even means. It's
to appeal to the feels for the Black Lives Matters out there and whatever. We've got, you know, a black stake in this or something. You know, like there's a black face on the money now.
Yeah, you know what's hilarious about that?
Things aren't going to be better just because they do this.
Yeah, right. What's pretty funny about all this is that they fail to forget that you know, she was a gun-toting abolitionist. You know, shooting at Democrats at the day that were all for slavery. So, I mean, that doesn't really add up.
It doesn't. And
she broke the law, folks.
Yep.
So,
she was a rebel. She went against the law.
Yep.
It kind of makes us.
She was just like those Germans. They're hiding the Jews against the Nazis that didn't want to turn them in. You know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it really makes us redefine and reanalyze what law even means. You know, and really seeking to the real premise of what law should be or what it should mean versus just some piece of paper that a bunch of legislators sign and stamp. You know. So,
yeah. Somehow it dictates morality.
Yeah. So definitely you're going to want to look into just because we're kind of history geeks over here. Definitely want to look into the banking wars. With Andrew Jackson and the Second National Bank of the U.S. during the pretty much the Civil War period.
No, it's prior. It's pretty much the build-up before it.
Right before it.
So we're talking like 30 years before Civil War.
Yeah, I definitely want to check that out. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. It seems like they're definitely talking to us here, as they usually do with their colorful Monopoly money that you can fold into every which way and get.
Have you noticed
subliminals.
that the color, the denomination color,
You can get all the buildings
it's the same
coming
with the
down.
Monopoly money and with our regular money, like the color fade that's in there, the color hue that's
Oh
in our
yeah.
monies. It's funny how it's just like Monopoly money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, right?
Yeah, you got
The one's got the kind of yellowish
pink,
white
the
tint,
pink, the blue, the green,
pink in
or
the
whatever.
fives.
Yeah.
There's a little bit pink in the fives.
Or
10's got
orange. The 10's orange, right?
I forget what the 10s are.
Yeah,
but I know like they're blue. Like 20s are blue.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a big joke. I mean, to them, on us,
Yeah.
Someone put up a picture where they had it lined up just right.
Well, I even heard a long time ago that when they did start making the money colored, that it was going to be the collapse of it was coming soon after that.
Yeah, except for whenever Kennedy had his Treasury notes that were red backed by silver. They weren't Federal Reserve notes. They're United States Treasury notes, redeemable for silver on demand.
Yeah, right. Good old days. So it's interesting with the color fiat currency. Definitely resembling a lot of the third world and a lot of the the Queen's jurisdictions and territories. They all seem to use very colorful, very happy-go-lucky money.
And it's Her Majesty's birthday tomorrow.
How old
God
is she?
save the Queen.
Yeah, how old is she turning? 100 something?
I don't know how long that demon's gonna live.
Oh man!
I keep on seeing this Huffington Post and other like London news articles that pop up on Facebook. And I just want to throw like "God Save the Queen" lyrics to them from the Sex Pistols.
Yeah. Oh man!
And we got the Flint situation finally building up with some little bit of accountability. It seems like. I mean,
you got to do something.
We'll see if these charges stick, but it appears that a whopping 3 officials were hit with some charges here. Even some felonies involved. Ooh.
My understanding is even the governor of Michigan is being held accountable for this.
Yeah, I mean, he picked. He was the one that chose the environmental head for Michigan. So
that district, whatever district they chopped it up into.
Right. So it's interesting. When they come after somebody, they go after somebody. But I mean, at the expense of what? I think a couple thousand people were exposed to lead, and when you consider all the lead poisoning and possible chronic diseases that were caused because of it.
Oh yeah, lead's good for your IQ.
Yeah. I'm sure it is, right?
Mercury's good in the vaccines, Richard.
Yeah,
we're talking about 100,000 people affected by this, and of course, it was on the more economically downtrodden side of town.
I bet you a lot of the side effects you won't be noticed till like way later on, because a lot of lead poisoning, a lot of lead side effects have to do with like dementia and like a lot of mental issues.
And then I think it makes you aggressive too, doesn't it?
I'm sure.
I think so.
I don't know, but
I think when the cars used to be a little bit more pollutive, with lead in the air. I think a lot of people were always like road raging and stuff. I don't know. I remember hearing some statistics
unleaded
like that.
gas.
Unleaded gas.
Yeah, right. And when you look into how this even happened, it's also, you got to wonder, this anti-corrosive chemical they put into the water. I mean, that can't be any good for the people either. So
the chlorine.
We gotta make everybody smart, Rick.
Yeah, don't drink that stuff, guys. Just
make your stomach shiny.
Get some purified water for yourself.
Coming on to a break. Truth Exposed.
Are you stressed? In our fast-paced world, many of us are, but there's something better than alcohol or big pharma pills, and it could add years to your life. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, and I'll be back with more in just a moment.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This public service announcement is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
How much is that doggy in the window? Arf, arf. If you're stressed, it's a question you might want to ask. Researchers say companion animals like dogs lower the stress hormone cortisol, and lower stress can lead to a longer, happier life. Pet owners also have significantly lower blood pressure, cholesterol, and triglyceride levels. This can be particularly important for patients recovering from heart attacks. In fact, studies show that pet owners have a much higher one-year heart attack survival rate than those without pets. Dogs may be man's best friend, but they're not the only animals with health benefits. Cats, birds, and even fish can work miracles. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht. More news and information at CatherineAlbrecht.com.
Looking for some truth? You found it. LogosRadioNetwork.com.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen, here on Truth Exposed Radio. This lovely 4/20, 2016, April 20th, of course, Wednesday.
God had put this here for me and for you.
Yeah, right. Always live, 6 to 8 p.m. Feel free to call in 512. I'm sorry.
Got you.
Got you. 420.
That impression, 512-646-1984. Yeah, I mean, we got receptors for that stuff in our brain.
Yes, sir.
It really does say a lot about evolution or our creator, Either way, it seems
been
like
taking place with a lot of the medical marijuana and the hemp seed oil and the cannabis oils.
You got cannabinoids in your brain?
The seizures that they've been stopping and the medical conditions they've been healing and aiding and resuscitating from. I mean,
yeah. I mean, all kinds of.
All you gotta do is get on that little smart engine of yours and look into these matters. You can see that it's a common thing that it should be out there free for mankind to use.
Google said don't use Google.
Yeah, Google did say don't use Google. What's up with that?
right. And right. And regardless of really the benefits, I mean, shoot, we can point to stuff that's not beneficial at all. Take McDonald's, for example, and their endless basket of free fries. But or
all you can eat.
Free, fries, but
they're like a Red Robin now.
Yeah, right. But I mean, and that stuff's horrible for you. But regardless, I mean, it's people's choices what they want to put in their bodies. I mean, whether it's harmful or beneficial for you, that's really a secondary issue, secondary point. I mean,
that's your choice. That's a private establishment, That's your choice whether or not you go there to have their products.
Yeah, most definitely. So it's your right to grow whatever you want on your piece of land, as we were getting into with Locke. I mean, shoot, it grows naturally, first of all, and secondly, because it grows naturally, you can reproduce that on your own plot of land, and
it grows wild.
But if people could just grow whatever they want, they could grow heroin, and then my kid might get heroin from you.
Well, you teach your kid.
I'm sure he might.
Yeah. Exactly. You always hear
your kid can get heroin if it wanted it to.
That's the risk of freedom.
Yeah.
Makes people have to be responsible. You've got to teach, your kids. You can't just pass it off to the state.
Yeah, you have to teach yourself. That's the only way that child will be taught the way you wanted it to be taught.
Apparently, all the states teaching kids these days how to lose their virginity too. So you're not going to learn much.
They were doing it back in my day.
But they won't teach them the difference between right and wrong.
They were just phase out the checkbook.
That's detrimental to the livelihood of the state, of the institution that teaches them. So-called teaches them, indoctrinates them. Yeah, start teaching kids ethics and start waking up to the immorality and the unethical nature of theft and taxation and force.
Definitely
can't have that.
Not at all. We have to have good.
I can't wait to have a kid to do a show and tell about taxation and theft.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, good. It'd be, that's really why we have to. It's about educating the youngsters. That's really important too. Getting the youngsters into it.
You smart people out there should have kids and teach them this stuff early on, so they go to school and have it spread to everybody else.
Yeah, or homeschool,
and it's almost like they're economically, they're using economic warfare to keep smart people from having kids.
We're the types that really debate on whether or not we should, if it's the right time, and all that. And
actually, a lot of us work, and then aren't
therefore
using the government.
You get taxed, right?
You get taxed.
We know it's expensive to have these little things.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to live off welfare, which is really easy to have a lot of kids when you live off welfare, and
if you're on welfare, you're not typically we're going to conclude you're not. I mean, sure, there's probably really smart people on welfare, but in general, if we were to take IQ tests of people on welfare, they're probably not the brightest, sharpest tools in the shed.
The ones that are on it prolongedly, they most of them are not, but those that are just getting by, trying to make ends meet in between things, they're just using it for what it is for.
Yeah, so it seems like economic incentives have been definitely perversed in this society that we're in, and we wonder why things just keep getting worse and worse and worse. And we really have people actually literally claiming for more intervention as a solution to things, and
don't realize that they're calling for the
problem. Very thing that causes the problem.
Yeah.
Bring in Occupy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You already know where that goes.
Yeah, right.
Hey, so what happened? They took down their website, right?
Oh yeah. If you listeners remember, Cuddy and I a while back did a little breakdown of Occupy Economics. Their economic Ivy League, MIT, I forget what it was, Stanford or something.
Yale or something.
Yeah.
Or Harvard. I think they're Yale. They're from
Yale.
Right.
One of their little Ivy League school,
big Ivy League school,
indoctrinator, Terminator, propagandists. And they had a little webpage where it basically had Occupy's economic policies or, suggestions for fixing everything and making it a better world. And apparently that site's down now.
Yeah, they took it down. And if people do remember, the Occupy movement, no one really had a specific, they didn't have an agenda,
it's got a footprint out there somewhere.
But they Oh yeah, there's probably articles you can look up where
but you can't go to the
references
actual site where
Right.
it originated anymore.
So anyway, I mean, we had broke it down before. I mean, they had basically said we can use the existing structure of government we have now.
Yeah, they don't have the site
make it
anymore. They have
bigger and
references to
stronger.
it, but
And basically, you know, it's just like what we see with the Google technocracy and everything else is just track and trace every single thing.
Yeah, the cashless society.
literally said that.
Literally said that.
They
Literally
need
said
to
that,
track
yes.
and trace every single transaction,
everything in the market.
in order to tax it, so that we can all have better schools and education and welfare and healthcare and food stamps and better roads and better protection and better lives in general. You know, the more theft there is, everyone benefits somehow in this logic.
And you know, I mean, that's just like RFID chip, everything, yourself included.
That's the only way you could really tell how much, you know, what material goods are being transferred to who and when and all that.
I mean, they just basically gave you the New World Order game plan.
It's for your good, though, right? It's for freedom.
Yeah, it's for safety.
Yeah, freedom from hunger and freedom from sickness and ridiculous. It's just ridiculous, straight up.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that slide was taken down conveniently because it really had. We were really surprised how much they really admitted on there. I mean, it was startling to see them, you know, basically say that all the structures, as you were saying, Cody, were already put in place.
Yeah.
For this to take place, and you consider the World Bank and you consider the IMF and
they like those. They
monetary,
like that.
the monetary policies that we have in place already.
The problems, you know,
it's the source of the problem.
Exactly, right? Exactly, and yeah, just have more of that and more tracking and tracing of everything you do. I'm sure they would be good for the paperless, currency, all digital currencies, because how else are you going to track and trace everything? So yeah, it was just completely. Psychopathic electric status.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And it really is sad because it goes to show how gullible the public is, how quick we are willing to, most of us are willing to take a stand on something, go out there and protest for something or against something that we know little to nothing about. That's a scary idea, and we run into these people all the time, very opinionated people that know little about what they're actually talking about. We need to learn a little bit of humility. We need to learn a little bit of actual perspective and reality here and be able to gauge when we know what we're talking about, what we know, what we do and what we don't know, and the known knowns, the known unknowns, and the unknown unknowns. We gotta be able to distinguish that. People can't even do that. So,
yeah. Shake my head.
Yeah. and those are the hardest people to even talk to. I mean, somebody that's highly opinionated but very ignorant in their knowledge. It's just
stubborn to have a discussion.
Well, that's exactly what it is, right? I mean, someone that's
like
arrogant.
You saw that video? What was it? The Trump supporters. They were talking to some I don't know what they were. They were like in
communists.
They look like communist anarchists, like the ones that are always trying to make anarchists look bad. And it was supposedly an anarchist tranny that spit in his face. Like they're trying to break down, saying, "Hey, how is Trump racist?" or something like that. They wouldn't have a discussion with him. They just decided to spit in his face.
Yeah.
Like, really? Come on.
And then say, "What are you going to do?"
Not that I have anything for Trump or against Trump or whatever, but. I mean, come on, if you want to have a discussion about this, if you're so adamant against a person, you're out there standing in the streets, taking up space and, making a big scene about it.
Yeah.
You don't want to have a discussion about it?
Right.
Just as you, Rick, you're out there on the streets, you're waiting for people to engage you on this so that you can have a discussion about it. Just as me and Cuddy, we all been out there on the streets, downtown San Antonio with our signs on First Friday or whatever kind of topic we want to bring up. We're rolling the We Are Change. We're just waiting to engage people in a civil discussion. But a lot of them can't do it.
Nope.
Easy.
And we are back. This is Truth Exposed on this April 20th, 2016. Live here every Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. Phone lines are open, 512-646-1984.
Got that George Orwell going on.
Yes, sir. Supposed to be a fiction book, not
like a handbook.
Not a manual.
A manual.
The blueprint?
Yeah, the blueprint.
The blueprint for global enslavement.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man. Yeah, so we're just ranting on a little bit about the frustration we run into with people that they just don't want to see the truth.
Cognitive dissonance.
Or just to even have a civil discussion about differing matters and see where people stand.
Yeah.
That's what adults do.
And a lot of people are living in this false fantasy where, they only filter things through what they want and don't want to be true. So like, if they don't want something to be true, they're not even going to entertain that idea.
Or disagree with the thought just because their particular understanding of it.
Or guilty by association. There's certain ideas is associated with a certain group of people. You don't identify as that group of people, so you got to just be against that position or whatever.
That too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a bias psychology.
Oh yeah, most definitely. It's like
if the clock's broken, but it is 6 o'clock and it's broken at 6 o'clock, and the broke clock is right. Just
it's gonna be right at least twice a day.
Exactly. It doesn't mean it's not right. Just because it's broke all the time.
It's just a little off, man.
Yeah, the skills of discernment are lacking in the populace. And, this is something that we got to really wonder and question about. At what point, at what IQ level does a democracy lose its liberty and turn into a totalitarian state?
Were we just talking about that before we were there? When you're over here doing the lowdown, you're sitting outside.
And I was talking about how, we're basically, everybody's so dumbed down that, just
at some point they're going to come in and deem that nobody is intelligent enough to actually make a decision and choose their governor. So we're just going to bring in a dictatorship because we've already got y'all so dumbed down to the point where you're not even to care about it.
It's almost like right now everybody's so bad.
It's kind of like idiocracy.
Yeah, and they're like, look, y'all chose from all these idiots. Y'all are incompetent to choose.
There you go.
To who can lead you, and then bam, I mean, I heard this was going to happen a long time ago.
Oh, they proved that like 12 elections ago already.
Oh, yeah,
so.
definitely.
Y'all don't even know what's good for you anymore. So we're just going to start deciding for you outright. Okay, so just sit down, shut up, take the chip.
Yeah, I mean, the politicians basically act like that anyway. I mean, didn't you see Ted Cruz a long time ago?
Yeah, whenever we were over there, whenever Cruz was running for House or for the Texas Senate, he had a fundraiser with Ron Paul over the Capitol, and we were all over there checking it out because we were there for Ron Paul. But when we were all standing off on the side stage, and you see Cruz right after he gave his speech, he walks off, and as soon as he turned around from the podium, his demeanor changed, and he walked off and went to shake hands with this other guy backstage. He goes, "That's how you do it. That's how you get it done." And he just had a snake face. I mean, he just looked.
They know everybody's incompetent.
He went from fish face to snake face.
Straight up politician, man. Straight up. I never trusted that guy.
He turned the actor mode off and went into the real him.
I never trusted that guy. When I saw that demeanor in him, it was just.
But I mean, that's exactly. That's just exactly where we're at right now.
Well, and Mr. Dr. Paul isn't a clean slate either. I think he recently pointed out how basically this election cycle has proven all election cycles to be the fraud that they are, and that the American people are waking up to the fact. It's like, well, I have to ask myself, does he not recall running for president twice? I mean, is this not something
three times?
Yeah, right. Is this not something that he should have mentioned beforehand? But
he was out there whenever people were still disillusioned with the process and thinking that voting for Republican or Democrats actually didn't get you somewhere. He was out there interjecting issues and bringing up the topics at hand that really should be thought of, like our monetary policy, our foreign policy, So at a time whenever people still bought into the false hope of somebody else governing them.
Yeah.
But I mean, now more and more people are open to the anarchist idea of saying, you know what, we have no choice because who better to govern you than yourself because no one else has your best interest at heart.
Yeah. Yeah, and we had the chance for. I mean, when you look back at that particular campaign, again, we're not political activists or political actioneers here, but when you look at that campaign, that was really, you talk about anti-establishment candidates. I mean,
that was the Valhalla.
He got me into politics.
The Republican Party blew it.
Yeah, me too.
He got me out of politics.
Well, yeah. It was hokey pokey.
Yeah.
Because I seen somebody go out there and go against the grain and speak on real issues, even though his peers were going against him. And that, to me, said a lot. And there were times I disagreed with him. So I looked at the matter more, and I'm like, you know what? He's right.
Yeah, I didn't know enough, but I did know truth when I heard it. And it really made me investigate
this guy's sticking his neck out for this.
The Fed Bank and the things he was saying. And I was like, wow, this guy is the most honest, real deal. And it was just amazing. And, I jumped right in, and then he's gone. It's over.
The gateway drug into Austrian economics,
Yes,
exactly.
Sir.
He was proving the fraud right there back in '88. Even back in, I saw some of his speeches from like '83, if I'm not mistaken, where he's breaking down the Mises Institute, talking about the economy, and how the stability of it, and against Keynesianism.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about him. You could go back and check his 15-year, 20-year history, or whatever it was, and you could see
he had a track record to go off of.
Yeah, and you could see he was saying all this forever.
Bernie Sanders in the House, the subcommittees on banking. Oh, dude, those were great.
Oh, and who else did he get?
Bernanke, Geithner.
Even way back,
Greenspan.
He got Michael Moore when he was a kid. Did you see that one?
Wait, you're talking about
Ron Paul?
Was it Paul or was it?
Oh no, maybe it was Milton Friedman or
Yeah,
somebody.
Milton Friedman.
Yeah, my bad. Getting them confused.
That would have been funny though.
Yeah, but it was back in those days where they used to have
two little old men speaking on the free market.
Well, you know, it's very rare. You don't see any discussion like that on television anymore.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. We don't even hear the opposing view anymore. I'm surprised that they even had such debates and conversations on TV back in the 80s and 70s and 60s. I mean,
that's why Ron Paul got the black ball. You know, blacked them out.
Yeah, so I'm a little disheartened as to his recent comments on the fraud that is the election cycle, and just recalling him kind of just throwing in the towel pretty quick there, especially in 2008 when he had such momentum. But so it turns out, we're 41st in the when it comes to freedom of the press here. Out of 180 countries, we're number 41 over here. So,
and you know,
fight for freedom.
That just reminds me when Luke Rudkowski got old. What's that CNN? You know, CIA. What's his name? Cooper, yeah, you know, and got him to admit that he knew about, you know, Operation Mockingbird, and basically said, "You're carrying it out right now today," right to his face. You know, it is so true. It is so true.
Yeah, the House the House committee, when they were investigating the CIA in the 70s, and they had come out and admitted that the CIA had planted many of their own agents within various news agencies, paper and radio and TV, to direct the public on the news matters and to direct public opinion.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And people get a sense of legitimacy just because everyone is just mocking themselves. You know, hence Mockingbird, right? Everyone's just the canary in the cave mine. You know,
canary in the coal mine.
In the coal mine. Yeah. You just echoing. You know,
get your analogies right, Rick.
He's just trying to keep you on your toes.
But yeah, I mean, according to World Press Freedom Index, I mean, we rank number 41 out of 180 countries.
Who got number 1?
I don't know.
Nobody. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, right. The internet.
It starts at us.
It was the internet. Yeah.
All right, G.I. Joe.
But yeah, I mean,
press starts with you.
This really,
smoking a bear.
This really goes to show, I mean, where we're at. Not to mention our economic freedom index when you consider that, but I mean, just this freedom of the press index. You know, where's our freedoms? People are always ranting on about America being so great.
We're free from them.
Being so great.
We're so free. We're free from
as free as you allow yourself to be, and my friends, we haven't allowed ourselves to be very free. I mean, I have tried to live as free as I can.
We're free from the responsibilities of freedom.
Well, and you got to flex those rights, right? I mean, having freedom doesn't mean that you just have something and you never use it. I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
If you're free to leave the cage, but you never leave the cage, are you really free?
Are you really free, right? Yeah. I would argue you're not.
Or if you're free to leave the cage and there's a swarm of buzzards with razor sharp,
It's like I give my money to the bank and then I go and try to get it out and they ask me 100 questions about what I'm going to do with the money. It's like,
am I really free to take
is this my money or not? Like, what happened here?
Sir, you took out more than $400. We're going to have to investigate.
Yeah, we're going to.
What are you going to use them $400 for?
It's like, man, there's this gun giveaway, bro.
Oh, you're going to buy a gun and not register it, huh? Better register that with the state.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't buy it. It was a donation.
Yeah. I actually bought the lampshade that was on the gun. The gun's not going to come with it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
I just bought the plastic bag.
Yeah.
I bought the sticker that was on it. That was all. It was a $500 sticker. What can I say?
Yes, sir.
Well, we are coming on to our middle break here for the hour. And we got some philosophy coming up. We're going to finish up what we've been breaking down the last couple of weeks with John Locke and the acquisition of property. So definitely encourage you guys to stick around for it. If you got any questions or any insights into this, definitely feel free to call in 512-646-1984. And we'll be back after these messages. So definitely
go over to logosradionetwork.com. Check out those sponsors. Get in on that gun giveaway, that gun grab, $25 donations.
I'm not sure if they're still doing that, but
I believe they bumped it up to June 1st, if I'm not mistaken.
No, shoot. Well,
I heard the commercial.
There you go.
Rat-a-tat-tat-tat. Get in on.
You can still get any text traffic to Bernard.
Logos Radio Network presents Truth Exposed Radio, a transmission promoting resistance to tyranny. Listen in as we explore counter-economics, spontaneous order, and the human strive for liberty with your hosts, Rick Brody, Marshall Soul, and Cuddy Rowe. And now, Truth Exposed Radio.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back this lovely Wednesday, April 20th. And we're about to get into some of the good stuff, some of the meat over here.
Taxation and stuff.
Meat and potatoes.
Yeah, meat and potatoes. After we fed all the babies the milk, the warm milk, it's time to get in some of that barbecue.
The land.
It's vegetarian too for you, my veggie friends out there.
Proper tea.
But it's really the meatier substances.
One day when you're asleep, Richard, we're gonna trick you and put like a half-eaten meat sandwich in your hand, all this other stuff. We're like, Richard, and you're wake up in the morning.
You've been eating barbecue.
What? We're gonna do it now.
You've got flesh in your mouth. So we were getting on to the scheduled, little
analysis.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Last week we wrapped up with a really interesting concept.
Yeah, your regularly scheduled reprogramming.
Yeah, right.
Or deprogramming.
Yeah, we got into a really interesting concept that Locke pointed out, which any person that takes the time, just a couple of minutes to even think about it, will come to the same conclusion, and that's that things that really are of value in the world are of value thanks to labor. Hardly anything that's found in the natural state that it's found in can be of any use. Twigs, bark, trees, whatever, plants that you can pick as much as you can pick. I mean,
there was dried yak dung used as a means of exchange.
Mulch.
It's whatever anybody deems as a means for exchange.
Fertilizer.
Well, yeah, but that's a means of exchange. Here we're talking about the idea that it's not until labor is actually applied to nature that some things are valued or even created. Seldomly do we use things that are just in their natural state. Even food that can be picked off a tree needs to be picked and brought to you, right? It needs to be brought to market. So
that's a means of exchange.
Especially today, everything around you has been transformed.
Yeah, right.
Computers and laptops and cell phones don't grow on trees.
They don't.
And this really, in a lot of ways, with the with civilization that we're living in, a lot of people like to complain about they feel mightier than thou by complaining about pollution and how everything would be a lot better if we just didn't pollute, not realizing that literally means bringing down the standard of living, bringing down consumption for civilization, for society, which will in turn bring down the standard of living, right? Our luxuries and our pleasures that we gain from life. And really, I don't see the major difference between having a bunch of crude oil in the ground versus having a bunch of plastic bottles in the ground.
Are you stressed? In our fast-paced world, many of us are, but there's something better than alcohol or big pharma pills, and it could add years to your life. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, and I'll be back with more in just a moment.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This public service announcement is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
How much is that doggy in the window? Arf, arf. If you're stressed, it's a question you might want to ask. Researchers say companion animals like dogs lower the stress hormone cortisol, and lower stress can lead to a longer, happier life. Pet owners also have significantly lower blood pressure, cholesterol, and triglyceride levels. This can be particularly important for patients recovering from heart attacks. In fact, studies show that pet owners have a much higher one-year heart attack survival rate than those without pets. Dogs may be man's best friend, but they're not the only animals with health benefits. Cats, birds, and even fish can work miracles. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht. More news and information at CatherineAlbrecht.com.
What are you thinking? Micro plant powder with iodine and probiotics for a total body detox for around $10 a month. HempUSA.org has 12 formulations of micro plant powder for absorbing and removing toxins from your kidneys, liver, blood, lungs, stomach, and colon, and feel better than ever. It alkalizes, oxygenates, kills parasites, does the job of 10 products. That saves you space, time, and money. Call 888-910-4367 only at HempUSA.org.
Rule of Law Radio is proud to offer the Rule of Law Traffic Seminar. In today's America, we live in an us-against-them society. And if we, the people, are ever going to have a free society, then we're going to have to stand and defend our own rights. Among those rights are the right to travel freely from place to place, the right to act in our own private capacity, and most importantly, the right to due process of law. Traffic courts afford us the least expensive opportunity to learn how to enforce and preserve our rights through due process. Former Sheriff's Deputy Eddie Craig, in conjunction with Rule of Law Radio, has put together the most comprehensive teaching tool available that will help you understand what due process is and how to hold the courts to the rule of law. You can get your own copy of this invaluable material by going to ruleoflawradio.com and ordering your copy today. By ordering now, you'll receive a copy of Eddie's book, The Texas Transportation Code, The Law versus the Lie, video and audio of the original 2009 seminar, hundreds of research documents, and other useful resource material. Learn how to fight for your rights with the help of this material from ruleoflawradio.com. Order your copy today, and together we can have the free society we all want and deserve.
If I can't believe my eyes, I've got to believe my heart. If I can't believe my ears, I've got to believe my heart. Yeah, if I can't believe the newspapers, I've got to believe my heart. If I can't believe the radio, whoa, I've got to believe my heart. And my heart said, whoa, wait a minute, you know I'm out here in this wilderness alone. Troubles you bring to me make me feel like stone. Just because you can't find belief in this reality. But I got to believe my heart. Not much to go on in some cases, so I've got to believe my heart. I keep finding myself in situations where I've got to believe my heart. I might not possess the proper education, so I got to believe my heart. And my heart said, whoa, wait a minute, wait and see. I know you truly want what's best for me, and I'll try to be just what you want me to be. Just because you can't find belief in this reality.
Getting them grooves going on.
Yes, sir, 420 over here.
Them birth pains. Yep. So we were just discussing, ladies and gentlemen, John Locke, section 40 on his second book, bringing up how, everything we have of use, so even the things that whack out sometimes, but, whether it's your computer or your house or your shoes, your clothes, your phone, the food you eat, the fridge, your stove, your car, the tires on the car, the light bulbs, everything is essentially a product of someone, or more importantly, a group of people's labor. And, these things aren't just naturally found in nature. It's not like you go about digging and find yourself a silicone microchip that you can just plug into your computer, right? No, it takes a lot of effort, even, and huge investments of capital, be it through factories or whatever, or means of productions of some sort, foundries or huge mills and presses and just a whole litany of tools. And
all these things that come together had to be made by somebody or some peoples to provide it to another peoples to bring together to provide their own products.
Most definitely. And
which is comprised of many other products brought by many other people.
Oh yeah.
They don't have a Snap-on tree?
And something, yeah, right. And something is
not the Lego tree, sir.
And something as simple as Legos or even a pencil can literally involve, when you really start to break it down, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of individuals.
Have you seen how it's made? The TV show?
Yeah, right. And that's just something that's coming together. I mean, they're not even getting into the actual factors or ingredients of each of the factors,
components, right?
Yeah, each of the components that went into it. So you can quickly get into the dozens and hundreds of thousands of individuals involved and just making a simple little item.
A pencil, yeah.
iPencil, for those that may not be familiar, definitely check out that YouTube video.
Somebody's got to give those people incentive to come together to make such a thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, most definitely. And this is the beauty of the market. It's beautiful. People that would otherwise be at each other's throats because they may not agree on philosophy or may not agree on religious beliefs or may not agree on political ideologies, come together for mutual gain and mutual benefit and that profit incentive.
Capitalism.
Yeah, you tolerate each other just to earn your bread, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, there are plenty of people in the workplace and out there and out about that you might not necessarily agree with on certain topics or might not like very much, but you coexist.
Oh, most definitely. And it's more than just the bread. This is to make your sports car, to come out and be able to have your own.
About making your bread, like your own studio. Money.
Yeah,
they're there to make their own money, make their own means to get other things that they want.
Yeah, no doubt. So when we really consider that, it would definitely seem like 99.9% of everything that we use, if not more, are a product of labor. And as we were pointing out earlier, even an apple that's freely growing on an apple tree that no one owns, I mean, even as cliche as it may be, involve you at least reaching up and picking it and eating it. So
that burned calories, which exerted energy, which you wouldn't have, that you had more before than which you did once you pulled it. So you used something, so you put effort, and thus
no one has the right to take it from you.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to keep breaking down here the next couple of segments, and hopefully wrapping it up for finally for this episode, because we got some interesting stuff coming in. So should be quite the ride into property and into that raw acquisition of it.
We like to take our time with things.
Definitely, you got to
step by step, right? Stay tuned.
This is the Logos Radio Network.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen, Truth Exposed Radio right here on the Logos Radio Network. April 20th, 2016. Be sure to go over to the logosradionetwork.com. Check out the sponsors. Get in on that gun giveaway. $25 get you in on it. And special offer, purchase Eddie Craig's traffic seminar before June 1st and receive 10 entries into that gun drawing. Get in on it, people. We got to keep it rolling.
Yes, sir.
A community effort. We're just breaking down the division of labor. It takes a community to run a network, so definitely join in on it.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Back to the property.
Yeah, back to property, right?
Back to the property at hand.
So just wrapping up, kind of giving you a quick little summary on the nature of labor and natural property, how things are transformed and created into things of value. Moving on to Section 41 here, a lot goes on to say that there cannot be a clearer demonstration of anything than several nations of the Americas are of this. I think we read this last week, but I'm going to skip this one. But basically, he was pointing out how this is late 1600s, how America was pretty much nothing but prairie land as compared to England. You could be a king in America and be starving to death, or be a servant in England and be living in better luxury and comfort than the king of the prairie,
Yeah, a lot of people had to come and, start everything from scratch.
America had to be cultivated,
Yeah.
England, as being as old as it is, had already been cultivated, been worked, and was still being worked at the time. So
the slaves
they already had a system kind of set, where roads were bringing in goods.
Yeah. They're called pioneers for a reason. They had to go out.
They had to go out there and
start from scratch
and build the roads and bring in the assets. You mean they weren't taxed to build the roads?
I don't think so.
Did you see that picture of the deer trails? Look, it's proof that deers obeyed government.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. They made a road.
So moving on to Section 42 there, basically goes on to say that to make this a little clearer, let us but trace some of the ordinary provisions of life through their several progresses before they come to our use, and see how much they receive of their value from human industry. Bread, wine, and cloth are things of daily use and great plenty, notwithstanding acorns, water, and leaves, or skins must be our bread, drink, and clothing. Did not labor furnish us with these more useful commodities? For whatever bread is more worth than acorns, and wine more than water, and cloth more than silk, or cloth or silk more than leaves, rather, skins or moss. This is wholly owing to the labor and industry. The one of these being the food and raiment which unassisted nature furnishes us with, and the other the provisions which our industry and pains prepare for us, which how much they exceed the other in value. When any one hath computed, he will then see how much labor makes a far greatest part of the value of things we enjoy in this world. And the ground which produces the materials is scarce to be reckoned, and is any or at most but a very small part of it.
so little that even amongst us, land that is left wholly to nature, that hath no improvements or pasturage, tillage, or planting, is called indeed as it is, and that's waste. And we shall find the benefit of it amount to little more than nothing. So true, right? And just breaking it down here. Section 43, an acre of land that bears here 20 bushels of wheat, and another in America, which the same husbandry would do the like, are without doubt of the same natural intrinsic value. But yet the benefit mankind receives from one in a year is worth £5, and the other possibly not worth a penny. If all the profit an Indian received from it were to be valued and sold here, at least I may truly say, not 1,000th is a product of this. It is labor then which puts the greatest part of value upon land, without which it would scarcely be worth anything. It is to that we owe the greatest part of all its useful products. For all that the straw bran, bread, and the acre of wheat is more worth than the product of an acre of as good land which lies waste, is all the effects of labor. For it is not barley the plowman's pains, the reaper's and the thresher's toil, and the baker's sweat is to be counted into the bread we eat, the labor of those who broke the oxen, who digged and wrought the iron stones, who filled and framed the timber employed about the plow, mill, oven, or even other utensils, which are a vast number, right? Huge number, like we were just talking about. iPencil, just YouTube that one and start to get some perspective on economics here. This requisite to this corn, from its sowing to its being made bread, must all be changed on the account of labor, and received as an effect of that. Nature and the earth furnished only the almost worthless materials as in themselves. and this is pretty neat. This it's almost like a theological concept, really. The idea that God bestowed these raw materials for man to have dominion over and to really transform for their benefit. In that way, and in many other ways, but in that way, we're in the image of God. We get to recreate.
So here's some building blocks. What can you do with it?
Yeah, we get to remold what God provided for us for things of better use.
And one of the good concepts here is that you can definitely tell that if, okay, you didn't want to pay what somebody was saying, they want for a certain product or whatever it is, then go and do it yourself. And then you're going to find out how much labor was put in to transform and to do that.
And
then
you
you're
will know how to deem its value because you yourself went through the process of creating such a thing.
Trying.
You know what it's worth.
Yeah, exactly.
Or it may have a different worth to you in comparison to another person's value of it.
Based on how well they can acquire maybe the materials, maybe they have an abundance versus, someone who doesn't,
How many of said product are on the market?
Yeah.
Yeah, very true, very true. I mean, if we even tried to use, try to make half the things we personally use ourselves, we would spend hundreds of years,
It would cost us a lot more than the however amount of dollars that we would spend just buying it at the market.
Yeah, exactly. Costs us a lot more having to reinvent the wheel.
Oh yeah, most definitely. The beauty of the division of labor. We can trust people to get specialized in their field. And hey, you know what? I don't have to become a doctor because this other guy spent 20 years in practicing medicine.
Surgery,
but I had grown up doing this, and he doesn't know anything about that, so he values my.
Yeah, I got to fix his car
more than his knowledge because he already knows what to do with his part.
Or you got to keep his lights running, right?
Yeah,
so he can see in his house.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've gone to somebody's house, and to me, it's been something so pathetically simple that I couldn't believe that they didn't know what it was, and they're some college educated person, or some of those types that think they're manly and this, that, and the other. It's like, okay, well, you're a man, you can't do this.
It's not their specialty.
Yeah, it's not their specialty.
That's exactly it. I mean, shoot, if we had to rebuild everything that broke down or anything like that, what are you better off doing? I mean, if it's the first time you try to sew some shoes together, they're probably going to be really crummy shoes.
Yeah,
you're better off just doing what you know best, and like you were saying, Marshall, just going to market and buying some well-made shoes by
someone who knows how to
craftsman. Yeah, someone that knows how to do it. So
if I tried making some shoes, I don't even know if I'd be as good as that guy who took those plastic bottles and turned them into flip-flops. Or the guy that cut up the tires and was using the tires as flip-flops. Those look pretty comfortable.
Yeah, right? You would think.
It could be the advertising, though. He might have read Edward Bernays.
True.
But yeah, this really shows how society is interconnected, and how the more the division of labor develops, the further we get from this primitive lifestyle and this primitive state of things, the more everyone depends on each other, and thus is less likely to wage war.
Because we actually see the value in our fellow man, their knowledge and their compassion and their will.
Waging war is a very isolationist. You're not
exactly.
How are you going to trade with someone when you're over there?
And why would you risk your loved ones to attack somebody else's? Well, that's justified in defense.
Yeah, so I mean, that's the beauty of the division of labor, folks. That's the beauty about capitalism, about the free market, is that it builds. Talk about fraternity and talk about unity and civilized society. Well, there you go. An intertwined, mutually dependent system of exchange. It's a beautiful
common
thing.
ground of respect. It
really is.
You might not like a person, but you respect them. You might disagree with them. Coming on a break. Truth Exposed Radio.
Don't believe everything you read about radio frequency microchips or RFID. It's a stealthy technology with some shocking applications, but some plans are pure imagination. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, and I'll be back to separate fact from fiction.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This public service announcement is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
Radio frequency identification, or RFID, is a technology that tracks objects using radio waves. Yes, there are plans to put the chips into consumer products. There's an implantable version, and governments and businesses want to use it to track people. But some reported applications are hogwash. Example, the NutriSmart RFID food system. It's an absurd notion by college student Hans Harmes. His prototype system envisions RFID tags in food to track what we eat from plate to potty. While there are ingestible RFID tags, fortunately the NutriSmart RFID system is pure science fiction, at least for now. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht. More news and information at CatherineAlbrecht.com.
Chemtrails.
You're listening to the Logos Radio Network at LogosRadioNetwork.com.
And we're back live. This is Truth Exposed, live here every Wednesday on the Logos Radio Network. It is April 20th, 2016.
Happy 420!
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it's illegal for us to grow cannabis on our private property.
It's illegal for us to buy and sell.
It can grow on your property. You just can't harvest it.
Yes, sir. You can't even buy liquor on Sunday.
There's still dry counties in Texas. I found that out the hard way years back. Like, what? Really? Dry county?
Instead of asking what we're not allowed to do, we should just make it simple and brief. What are we allowed to do? That's just a handful of things.
Exactly. Not too many.
The list of things you can't do is getting so long. It's like you might as well just list the things I can do.
Yeah,
okay?
Exactly.
You can go to work and you can go home.
You can pay your taxes.
Pay your taxes.
Die. You can die.
Watch cable.
Yeah.
Mainstream media.
You can eat GMO and you can get cancer.
Endless fries.
Endless fries.
Someone made that got a clip of that clip from the Jungle Book with the tiger doing the taxes. Oh, beautiful taxes.
Yeah.
My taxes, my beautiful taxes.
Yep.
So that's probably what the IRS is doing right now, or the was it the Queen, the beneficiary from the fund?
Yeah, right.
Someone over there in London.
Whoever didn't have to actually pay their taxes, they're the ones doing that. So.
Yep.
So continuing on here, I mean, Locke's is breaking down the obviousness of how intricate and complex everything is once you really start to think about just the basics. And this seems to totally be missed by the Occupy crowd and the Black Lives Matter crowd and socialists at large. And unfortunately, even some so-called self-professing conservatives or people that call themselves Republicans don't really grasp. A lot of them don't grasp economics too well.
I will give them that they've probably been misconstrued by media and education on what capitalism is and what a free market is. But at some point, you can only be so naive without looking into these things for yourself and understand that everything, has a natural place and a natural flow and a natural regulation within a social structure and a social contract.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely. They act like we need this all-powerful dictator in order to ensure that everyone acts correctly.
It's like when you go down to the flea market, how does it work?
Yeah, right. And though the flea market is, I guess, a different situation only because it's like secondhand goods or whatever. But regardless,
not all the time. Not all the time.
There's people there that bring their.
I bought brand new stuff there.
And there's people there that make.
I hope it's brand new. It came in a box.
It was underwear. I mean, I'm hoping it was.
When you go to your farmers markets, your roadside markets, and whatnot.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah.
The guy that's over there selling he's got a truck full of chopped logs. He's willing to sell for $5 or whatever. You know, he put labor in to provide those logs. He went out to his property, harvested those trees to get you firewood, so you can barbecue or throw in a nice romantic fire in the fireplace for the winter.
Yeah, most definitely.
Build a doghouse.
Yeah, if you're gonna make it out of firewood, whatever.
But when you don't get romantic, you forgot the anniversary.
You get kicked out.
Yeah. So just to wrap up here, this section, Mark points out that it would be a strange catalog of things that industry provided and made use of about every loaf of bread before it came to our use, if we could trace them: iron, wood, leather, bark, timber, stone, bricks, coal, lime, cloth, dyeing drugs, pitch, tar, mast, ropes, and all the materials made use of in the ship that brought any of the commodities made use of by any of the workmen to any part of the work, all which it would be almost impossible, at least way too long, right, to reckon up.
Yeah, they're talking about going down the line of where each product came from, how it was used, who touched it, and who put labor into it.
Yeah.
And then all those products that are put to that product, the labor that entails from that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. Most def. It's a vast web. Intertwined web of freedom, of production, of
freedom of exchange,
of accomplishment, versus the web of deceit and lies and force and theft, right, and plunder. On the other perspective of things,
threats of violence.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot, I get sales and clearance specials, on one end, and I get threats of violence on the other.
You will buy healthcare, Rick.
Yeah, or else. So, next section. From all this, it is evident that though the things of nature are given in common, man being master of himself and proprietor of his own person and the actions or labor of it, had still in himself the great foundation of property, and that which made up the great part of what he applied to the support or comfort of his being, when invention and art had improved the convenience of life, was perfectly his own and did not belong to the common of others. So just repeating what we've been talking about. Once you apply your labor to something, that is yours. And then once you trade it off to somebody, you passed along those property titles to that person that gained that property legitimately.
Yeah, you don't go and say, hey, I made that, I take it back.
That you're being paid somebody for your labors.
Right.
By some means, whether it be food or money or something you deem valuable, you're being paid for your work, for your labor.
And we don't want to even open up that can of worms of, when you start talking to labor theory of value communists who basically
we're just talking about
believe wages are theft in themselves, wages are oppression. I mean, that's a whole can of worms that somehow voluntary contract. Somehow voluntary exchanges.
I have this guy who wants to pay
oppressive.
me this amount of money. I've got this guy who wants to pay me this amount of money for the same job. That's my choice. Whether who I go to, there might be a different reason that I go to the lower paying guy. There might be better benefits there.
Who's even saying you got to go to that guy or that guy? You can go and do something else. Like, people don't even.
Just for the sake of argument.
No, I know, but that's.
You have the choice.
They think,
you could be
they think it's a two-party dictatorship. Or
yeah, you don't have a choice, right? You're forced to have to work for somebody and slave for somebody.
If the overbearing regulations weren't there, you'd be able to provide and provide the own situation for yourself to where you could come in and be the entrepreneur.
For sure.
For hiring the person to do the job.
Yeah, nothing's stopping you from acquiring enough to start your own. I mean,
and that really, when you really start to analyze it from that perspective, you quickly realize that the world would look vastly different if it wasn't for all this interventionism that we've had for a couple hundred years now. I mean, talk about localized markets. Everyone's complaining about having to ship everything long distances or industrial ranching or industrial farming. None of that would even be an issue if we just let the market be. I mean, things would
decentralized, localized,
would be more localized and decentralized by just common sense.
Cut back on all the regulations and licensing, and the state coming in and interjecting and creating the burden or creating a subsidy that allows certain businesses to rise up over others and force others out of business.
There'd be a lot more choices, wouldn't there?
Oh yeah.
Does somebody really have to have a license to know whether or not you know that they will do a good job?
To have a lemonade stand, to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich?
They have to get their permits.
Yeah, right. Well, it's nuts. It's nuts. But I guess we would just be fed poison lemonade if it wasn't for the regulators, if it wasn't for the FDA.
Yep. I don't trust little girls on the side of the road.
Yeah, they're probably putting aspartame in that lemonade.
I'm sure. High fructose.
I don't know how they'd pass on the cost somehow,
That's 5 cents a glass. There's got to be a catch somewhere.
Right.
So it continues on here, Section 45, that thus labor in the beginning gave a right of property wherever anyone was pleased to employ it upon what was common, which remained a long while, the far greater part, and is yet more than mankind makes use of, men at first, for the most part, contented themselves with what unassisted nature offered to their necessities, and though afterwards in some parts of the world, where the increase of people and stock with the use of money had made land scarce, and so for some value, the several communities settled the bounds of their distinct territories, and by laws within themselves regulated the properties of private men and women of their society, and so by compact and agreement settled the property which labor and industry began. We have the beginning of a contractual society, the beginning of private law, right? Law stems from property. And this is a logical conclusion and deduction of things. So really interesting stuff. We are coming on to a break, so we hope that you stick around because we're going to wrap this up and see where all this leads. So,
well, it's obviously leading to law, huh?
I think it is.
Coming on to a break here, Truth Exposed. Stay tuned.
Easy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Truth Exposed Radio right here on the Logos Radio Network. Marshall Soul off my buddies.
Taxation is theft. Taxation is theft. Cuddy Rowe.
Rick Rhodey.
We're going to get back in this John Locke and wrap up the property because it always leads to law.
But they tax on our property.
Well, they're creating law to tax it. If you don't know what law is, then you're going to fall for it.
Yes, sir. Why is all this making sense?
It's when you're systematic and you take your time, it has to, right?
Yep.
You got to take your time with the topics.
Never trust a guru that tries to get you to accept something on the feels or on the whim.
Prima facie.
On the mysticism.
Yeah. Yep. So property here, as Locke was bringing in, consequently has to bring in law or at least titles of property and the rightful exchange of it and the defense of it, right? Because, once you homestead a piece of land and a home, there's always that tendency within man to want to live at the expense of other people's labor. So inherently we need to come up with defense, or we need to come up with law. And what is law other than rightful defense? So one stems from the other. And again, commies would argue that, oh yeah, well that makes a lot of sense because the rich property owners created government in order to protect their assets and protect their land and their wealth. Forgetting that government, right, is ruled by force, and the biggest
theft of land.
Yeah, right. The biggest aggressor upon people's naturally homesteaded property rights.
Yeah, if you don't pay property tax, they come and take it, kick you off.
If you exchange or trade without their permission and without paying taxes, yeah,
you can get a lot of trouble for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you didn't collect the sales tax through your transactions. You didn't get your business license.
We got a fine for that.
So we got a jail cell for that.
Yeah, right. So whether it was created by the rich in society at the time, who knows? But we do know that it's been used to aggress on people's property. And as we saw with the Panama Papers and the Panama Leak, it's usually those at the bottom end of the barrel that get aggressed upon all the time by government. It's never across the board. It's not an equal distribution of ass kicking going on.
They don't follow their own rules that they set for the goy.
No, the only reason Bernie Madoff went under is because he was jacking with the higher ups.
Yep.
He was taking their money.
Yeah. So here Locke does get into kingdoms and nations or whatever, and we're giving it as a kind of like a pre-warning here, a preface on the point, because again, Locke wasn't anarchical capitalism hadn't fully developed by this point. He was a minarchist.
He wasn't perfect.
And
that's another thing too, right? We don't idolize people. We take the good and leave the bad apples where they fall.
Just like anything, you're gonna take away from what you feel is right and what you think is correct, and take from that. There'll be certain things about a person you don't like or disagree with.
Yeah, you better make sure that you're on point with that, not just
because they say a bunch of right stuff doesn't mean everything's right, and just because they say a bunch of wrong stuff doesn't mean everything's wrong.
Gotta have a little bit of discernment skills here going on.
You just gotta find the common average with the individual.
You gotta stand on principles.
That's what it is right there. Stand on things you can prove, on things that make logical sense. So So he goes on to say that the leagues that have been made between several states and kingdoms, either expressly or tactically, disowning all claim and right to the land and the other's possession, have by common consent given up their pretense to their natural common right, which originally they had to those countries, and so have, by positive agreement, settled a property amongst themselves in distinct parts of the world. Yet there are still great tracts of ground to be found, which the inhabitants thereof, not having joined with the rest of mankind in the consent of the use of their common money, lie waste, and are more than the people who dwell on it do or can make use of, and so still lie in common, though this can scarce happen amongst the part of mankind that have consented to the use of money. And I'm not quite catching here this repetition of money, I guess, corrupting situation. I'm not catching why he's bringing up money and how that distinguishes things. I'm not quite sure on that, but nonetheless, I like how he said there that, hey, if you don't consent to other agreements that other nations or peoples are making, then you got a right to go out on your own, right, and be a pioneer and forge your own land, your own territory. And this really brings up the BLM.
I think they're pretty much talking about it's pretty much talking about people consenting to a currency and whether or not they're consenting to come together upon a currency or taking too much time to dwell upon a currency and is stifling the means of the exchange.
Yeah, when they don't, yeah.
Because they're too busy pondering which to use for means of exchange, the goods, or thus they're rotting on the ground, you know.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm not really sure, but yeah, I mean, if there's land to be acquired that hasn't been homesteaded, it's common property. So the idea that somehow governments can lay claim to whole continents or whole pieces of landmass, just totally inconsistent and illogical. We're basically giving a right to a group of human beings that no one else has a right to,
and like somehow they're the arbiters of the property. You have to go to them for permission.
Right.
You have to go to them, and it's not theirs to have domain over.
Isn't that kind of putting themselves in the place of God? Even
yes, it is. Exactly.
What is a king but somebody who claims that they were
the moral authority of the land, or
that God gave them the right to rule over you?
Yeah,
they're like the direct bloodline of Jacob.
Yeah, or whoever, right? Our bloodline is better than your bloodline.
Well,
more holy than now.
Is it the stone of
because
Jacob?
I was born.
Is it the stone of Jacob under the Queen of England's throne? Whenever she took her coronation?
I'm sure, yeah. I mean,
the stone upon which he had his dream. Well,
you was born in the assistant pimp family, okay? So you just the assistant pimp.
everyone really clamors to that bloodline and likes. It seems like everyone's a racist when it comes to that one.
Oh
right?
Man,
yeah.
Hey, I'm from the tribe of Jacob. No, I'm from the tribe of Jacob.
I'm from the tribe of Dan.
Yeah. I'm such and such or whatever. I'm the original man. I'm the king. I'm we're kings and queens, and y'all are second
class citizens.
Yeah, second class humans or whatever. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't think God's a racist or a realtor.
Definitely not. Well, I mean, a realtor in the sense that it's there for whoever can homestead it, right? I mean,
yeah, for sure. But
not to
this whole manifest this whole manifest destiny
it's already yours
concept
for no reason.
Yeah. All of North America was given to the U.S. government by divine intervention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. From sea to shining sea.
Yeah.
Free ponies for everybody.
Woohoo!
Yeah. So
I want a unicorn. Yeah. I want a unicorn. I want a pony.
Definitely a catch-22 for all those that try to accuse us of being for monopolies or being for the control of just the wealthy and the well-to-do. When you have a society such as the one that we're talking about here, where everything is decentralized and divided up in that way, that's exactly. I mean, when you draw it out to its logical conclusions and you see what circumstances may arise and how they would be solved, there is no way that you can. I mean, absolutely no way that you can have an all-powerful monopoly of a small select group of men and women that control everybody else.
But that's not good. People of power need to have their power. They want their power.
Yeah.
They homesteaded the power over.
There you go.
I just envisioned He-Man.
Yeah. By the power of butthurt. I have authority over you.
By the power of my feels.
Yeah. Oh, man.
My genes.
Yeah, my gene pool.
The power of my feels compel you.
So really, really neat stuff. Here, continuing on, wrapping it up. The greatest part of things really useful to the life of man and such as the necessity of subsisting, made the first commoners of the world look after, as it doth with the Americans now, are generally things of short duration, such as, if they are not consumed by use, will decay and perish of themselves. Gold, silver, and diamonds are things that fancy or agreement have put the value on more than real use and the necessary support of life. Now, of those good things which nature hath provided in common, everyone have a right, as hath been said, to as much as he could use, and had a property in all he could effect with his labor. All that his industry could extend to alter from the state of nature had put it in, was his. He that gathered 100 bushels of acorns or apples had thereby property in them. They were his goods as soon as he gathered them. He was only to look that he used them before they spoiled, else he took more than his share and robbed others. And indeed, it was a foolish thing, as well as dishonest, to hoard up more than he could make use of, if he gave away a part to anybody else, so that it perished not uselessly in his possession. These he also made use of. And if he also bartered away plums that he would have rotted in a week for nuts that would last good for his eating a whole year, he did no injury. He wasted nothing that was common stock, destroyed no part of the portion of goods that belonged to others. So there's that proviso again, which is a neat concept. You know, it's a nice concept.
Well, even if something spoils, I mean, there's the fruit on the tree will spoil and fall off, and the seed goes into the ground, and the dust could spawn a new life of a plant, a tree.
Yeah, true, but it's not in your best interest to let things spoil.
No. Let nature do its thing in its natural state.
And spoil your lady.
There you go.
Looks like we're coming on to the end of the show here at Truth Exposed. We do appreciate you tuning in, and we will be live next Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. as usual.
Check out the other shows. Crypto.